airfield near Atlanta. Emergency doctor Mike Flukiger is embarking on a special mission. Destination, North Korea.
They said, this is a medical evacuation. We need you to go in and bring him out.
A mission to retrieve U.S. citizen Otto Warmbier, last seen in public 14 months earlier. A prisoner of the regime of North Korea. Warmongering between rivals Kim Jong Un and Donald Trump is at its peak.
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
A silent mission on a difficult route.
We elected not to use South Korea, China, or Russia to help us plan the mission.
Days later, Otto Warmbier is back home, but he's fatally ill. Severe brain damage, says the coroner. Cause unknown. Was it torture? Warmbier's parents become pawns in a game played by President Trump, who later announces that the North Korean leader knew nothing about Warmbier.
All I can do is shake my head, right? Too many lies, right?
When the State Department sends emergency doctor Mike Flukiger to North Korea, his plane of choice is still in Africa. The carrier, Phoenix Air, often evacuates Ebola patients. But for this mission, Flukiger insists on the best plane and the best team. He doesn't even tell his family where he's headed.
I didn't tell them exactly where I'd been until the mission was over, because it was becoming more and more apparent that this was a special mission. I told them I was going to Korea to pick up a patient. I did not say North Korea.
At Phoenix Air's headquarters, a second team led by Chief Operator Dent Thompson has to solve a logistical problem. The plane will not be allowed to refuel in Pyongyang.
Currently, there are certain sanctions that are in place between the U.S. government and the North Korean government. And for us to pay for anything, we would have to get special permits, which we simply did not have time to do.
On the morning of June 10th, 2017, a Saturday, the plane takes off on its mission. Flukiger is joined by 2 male nurses and 2 U.S. State Department representatives. With refueling stops in Montana and Alaska, their flight takes them halfway around the globe to northern Japan, and hopefully on to Pyongyang. The outskirts of Cincinnati, Ohio. Otto Warmbier grew up here, in the suburb of Wyoming. At first, his parents don't answer our inquiries. They aren't seeking the spotlight. The town has modest and affluent neighborhoods. Otto Warmbier's father runs a medium-sized business. Otto, the oldest of 3 children, is the pride of both his family and his high school. At graduation, he holds the commencement address. His future is mapped out. College in Virginia, a scholarship, a planned semester abroad in Hong Kong. But first, a New Year's adventure. North Korea. He books through a Chinese travel agency. Its slogan, "We take you to destinations your mother would rather you stay away from." He joins an international group. They have a great time.
He's left an indelible mark on me. He was such a lovely lad, and I've spoken to a lot of people who were on the tour, and we're all absolutely devastated.
Every year, the agency touts their dazzling travel highlight in Pyongyang. The alcohol flows freely. The tour guides make sure everyone's in a good mood. Nights are long at Pyongyang's only hotel for foreigners. Otto's group has fun too. It isn't clear whether they also took on the challenge of the forbidden fifth floor, but many tourists have done so in the past. It is the staff's floor, with hallways full of propaganda slogans.
Nobody.
The hotel's surveillance center is also located here. Tourists are usually just admonished. They act innocent and run off. This New Year's Eve, however, the cameras capture someone taking a poster from the wall. It is 1:57 a.m., and it is, according to the trial, Otto Warmbier. Instead of leaving North Korea with the others on January 2nd, he's taken into custody.
And he simply had a tap on the shoulder. Two guards took him away, and I sort of laughingly said to him, well, that's the last we'll ever see of you. And because we got on so well, Otto turned around and just chuckled at me. But of course, there was a huge irony in my words that we obviously didn't know what was going to happen, but that was the last time anyone actually saw him.
2 months later, North Korea's propaganda televises a staged confession.
I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea, for your forgiveness. Please, I have made the worst mistake of my life, but please, I never should have allowed myself to be allured by the United States administration to commit a crime in this country.
A show trial, with obviously coerced statements, perhaps in exchange for a pardon. 16 days later, Warmbier discovers that his hopes were in vain. He is publicly sentenced to 15 years of hard labor for subversive activities. His condition from this point on remains uncertain. Shortly before takeoff, Dr. Mike Flukiger is given the few details known about Warmbier's condition.
I had one small written note, one paragraph about his condition saying he was in a coma at Pyongyang Friendship Hospital. That's really all I knew, except that he had been hospitalized for 15 months.
Was Flukiger worried about the threat of war? Not really, he says.
I think I had felt that the relationship between North Korea and the U.S. had been bad for a while, and no, I thought if this door had opened to bring Otto Warmbier back, then there had been negotiations to ease things a little bit.
In fact, North Korea's sudden diplomatic effort surprises the U.S. negotiators. Mickey Bergman is one of them. Since Warmbier's arrest, he had been trying to gain access to him with the help of UN contacts. Bergman works together with Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico and former U.S. ambassador to the UN. Hardly any other team is as experienced in dealing with Pyongyang as they are.
In general, the only available direct channel that we have are the people that represent North Korea here at the United Nations. In this case, the individuals are people that know the governor from before, they know me from before. So that's a direct channel. But at the end of the day, they are not decision makers. And if you want to get to a deal, when you want to get to an understanding, you have to be there in person. So the first priority is, okay, how do we get ourselves invited to North Korea to make sure that we can talk to the people who can make decisions about this?
It was different in that you knew that Otto Warmbier by the North Koreans was considered something special because he was from the Midwest.